Why, hello there. So I've had a request to make some dippable things, which means like dips or sauces or things that we could eat as quick and healthy snacks. And the first thing that popped into my head was some fantastic hummus. Hummus is absolutely excellent, and you can make it in many, many different flavors and varieties. Today I'm going to do for you a roasted red pepper hummus. And so the first thing that we should start with, as always, is our ingredients. What I have here is I have about 2½ roasted red bell peppers that I have diced. I actually use them out of a can because, of course, we're trying to go to the grocery store as little as possible, and so I can use those roasted red bell peppers that are left later. I have 60 milliliters of tahini, which I did already have in my fridge from the last time that I made hummus. You'll be able to find that in your local grocery store. It's kind of like peanut butter, but with sesame seeds. I also need 30 milliliters or 2 tablespoons of olive oil. I need 1 can of cooked chickpeas, juice of 1 large lemon. I need 2 cloves of garlic, and I'm also going to need cumin, cayenne pepper, and some salt to taste. So in just a second, we'll get started with the process of making our hummus. So the first thing we're going to do is we are going to whip our tahini. Basically, we want our hummus to be nice and light and fluffy, and some recipes recommend creaming the tahini along with the lemon juice in order to get a sort of fluffy base. So we're going to take our tahini and we're going to scrape that into a small mixing bowl. In order to do the whipping, my original recipe suggests a food processor, and I have one of those, but it's really noisy and actually really hard to set up. So I'm going to try and do this today with a hand mixer. So there is all of our tahini. I'm going to keep this bowl just set aside to put my sticky scraper, my sticky spatula on. And then we're going to take our lemon juice, we're going to add that. And for about 1 minute, we are going to whip the tahini and the lemon juice with a hand mixer. I like to start on slow because this is a lot of liquid. I don't want it to splash on me, and then I'll probably increase the speed. Alright, that was about 1.5 minutes. Now we're going to add a few of the other ingredients, and we're going to do that over again. We're going to add our olive oil. There we go. We're going to add our cumin. We'll need about 1/2 teaspoon of cumin. And I love cumin. We know this, so I'm going to add just a little bit more, but it's entirely up to you. And also, if you like spicy, then you can add a shake or 2 of cayenne pepper, which I do. So there we go. So now we're going to cream this again, first on low and then bringing up the speed for about 1 minute. Perfect. Now it's time to change equipment. I'm going to use my immersion or stand blender again today instead of a food processor, which means I need my trusty jar back. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to empty all of the tahini mix into my jar very carefully. So now what we're going to do is, in order to make sure that everything gets mixed really well, we're going to add our 2 cloves of garlic and only half of the chickpeas. Yep. And then we'll use our immersion blender in order to get this smooth. And you'll have to move the blender up and down, but please be careful. You have to keep these holes below the food line or you will start spraying food everywhere. So here we go. All right, there we go. That is looking pretty darn good. So now that means that we can add the rest of our chickpeas and get that all smoothed out. just shake that just to get the chickpeas down below it. There we are. Blend number 2. You can even take a moment to pause and to scrape down and do a few more tries because we want it to be as smooth and creamy as possible. The other thing we can do is we can actually scrape out the inside of the blender. All right, now last but not least, it's time to add our roasted bell peppers. Now for this, I am going to take my mixer head out because it's really in the way so that I can dump my bell peppers. Maybe mom or dad should help with this because even I'm not too confident. You know, I'm not going to try it with one hand. This seems like a horrible idea. So I have luckily our used lemon bowl right back here so I can just set that right there so it doesn't make a mess. And then let's do this more carefully. There we go. And now it's time for the final blend. The last step to finishing up our hummus is just to season with salt as necessary. So I'm actually going to transfer the hummus to the container I'm going to store it in. Because if we store our hummus in an airtight container, it will last us for up to a week. And as you can see, storing it in a jar is a little bit difficult. So I'm going to put it in a Tupperware. All right, so there's all the hummus that we just made. Now, we are going to need a couple of tasting spoons so that we can get the salt just right, because this is our last step. So, there's no real secret or trick to seasoning with the salt. We're just going to add and stir it around and use our tasting spoon and see if we got it right. I think it needs about double the salt. And then we stir it around. Give that a taste with our other spoon, of course, not with the one we just stuck in our mouths. I think that's just about going to do it. Now, my last tip for you is a serving tip. So here I've prepared a little bit of bread. This is the homemade brioche from one of my other recipes, but honestly, you can use any kind of bread that you like. You can dip it in crackers, you can dip chips in there, you can get some pita bread and toast that. There's lots and lots of different options. But if I'm getting ready to enjoy this as a delicious snack or serve it to my family, then I'll just pile some hummus into a bowl here. I'm going to make a little space in the middle. And one of the best ways to serve this is with just a little bit more of our roasted red bell pepper, which I have here. So we'll sprinkle a little bit of that right into the middle there. And then normally hummus is also topped with just a little bit of drizzled olive oil. And there we have it, a delicious hummus snack. Enjoy!